Hello friends, I'm so happy you decided to join me today. We are going to explore the wonderful world of realistic ink drawing. Ink drawing might seem a little tricky at first, but I promise you it is something anyone can learn. We will take it step by step, nice and easy. Ink is such a special medium. It gives us strong, bold lines. It can also create the softest, most delicate shadows. Think about a beautiful old tree with all its interesting bark, or imagine a shiny apple reflecting the light. We can capture all of that with just a little bit of ink. Today, we will start with the very basics. We will talk about the simple tools you need. We will learn how to hold our pen to make smooth, confident lines. We will practice some easy strokes that will become the building blocks for all your future masterpieces. The most important thing is to enjoy the process. Are you ready? Let's begin this wonderful journey together. Alright, before we can start making our happy little ink drawings, we need to gather a few simple tools. You do not need a lot of fancy things to begin, just a few good quality items will do the trick. First, you will need some pens. For beginners, fine liner pens are just wonderful. They come in different tip sizes. A small tip like a 0.1 or 0.3 millimeter is great for details. A slightly larger tip like a 0.5 or 0.8 millimeter is good for outlines. Make sure they have good black waterproof ink. Next, we need some paper. You want paper that is smooth. Look for paper that says smooth Bristol board or drawing paper for ink. A good weight for paper is also important, something around 100 to 150 GSM. Of course, we will need a pencil. A light pencil like an HB or a 2H is perfect. And speaking of erasing, we will need a good eraser. A kneaded eraser is a wonderful choice. These happy little tools are all you really need to start. With these in hand, you are ready to start creating all sorts of wonderful ink drawings. Now that we have our happy little tools, let's talk about how to make some beautiful marks with our ink pens. The first thing is to hold your pen in a relaxed way. Do not grip it too tightly. We want smooth, flowing lines. Try drawing some long, straight lines on a practice sheet of paper. One of the most important techniques in ink drawing is called hatching. This is how we create shading and show where the light is. Hatching is just making a series of parallel lines. If you want a light shadow, you make the lines further apart. If you want a darker shadow, you make the lines closer together. Another wonderful technique is cross-hatching. This is just like hatching, but you add another set of lines going in a different direction. This makes the shadows even darker. There's also a technique called stippling. This is where you make lots of tiny little dots. Where you want it to be dark, you put many dots close together. Where you want it to be light, you put fewer dots, spaced further apart. Practice these different strokes: smooth lines, hatching, cross-hatching, and stippling. Section 4. Our first happy little picture, drawing a simple apple. Are you ready to draw your first happy little picture with ink? I thought so. Let's choose something simple and beautiful like a nice round apple. First, take your light pencil. We are going to very gently sketch the basic shape of the apple on your paper. Do not press hard, just a soft, faint outline. Once you have your light pencil sketch, it is time for our trusty ink pen. Let's choose a fine liner with a medium tip, maybe a 0.5 millimeter. Take a deep breath, relax your hand, and slowly trace over your pencil outline of the apple. Try to make one smooth, continuous line if you can. Now let's think about where the light is coming from. Imagine a little light shining on one side of our apple. That side will be bright. The other side will be in shadow. We are going to use our hatching technique to create that shadow. Once you are happy with your ink lines and your shadows, let the ink dry completely. Then take your kneaded eraser and gently erase all those light pencil lines. Section 5. Tips for happy lines and avoiding little oopsies. One thing that can happen is smudging the ink. To help prevent this, you can place a clean sheet of paper under your drawing hand. Also, always give your ink plenty of time to dry before you erase pencil lines or add more layers. Sometimes our lines might not be as smooth as we want. Try to relax your grip on the pen. Practice drawing lines with a confident, steady movement. Another little thing to watch out for is the ink flow from your pen. It is always a good idea to test your pen on a scrap piece of paper before you start on your main drawing. The most important tip is to keep practicing and keep having fun. Section 6. Making your drawings pop, adding shadows and sparkle. Now that you know how to make some basic lines and shapes, let's talk about making your drawings really come alive. We want them to look three-dimensional, like they could just pop right off the page. The secret to this is understanding light and shadow. Think about where your light source is. Is it coming from the left, from the right, from above? This will decide where your highlights are and where your shadows will be. Highlights are the brightest spots, where the light hits directly. Shadows are what give an object its form and volume. There are two main types of shadows we think about. There is the form shadow, which is the shadow on the object itself, on the side away from the light. We create this with our hatching and cross-hatching. Then, there is the cast shadow. This is the shadow that the object throws onto the surface it is sitting on, or onto other objects nearby. To make your shadows look really smooth and realistic, try to vary the pressure of your pen, or the density of your lines gradually. You want a soft transition from the light areas to the dark areas. Building up your shadows in layers like this gives you more control and creates a beautiful, rich effect. And do not forget the sparkle. Highlights are just as important as shadows. These are the areas that you leave white, or with very few lines. Leaving these areas clean and bright makes your darks look even darker, and it really makes your drawing pop. It is this play between light and shadow, the darks and the lights, that creates that wonderful illusion of realism. Section 7. Your wonderful journey with ink. Keep creating. Well, look at that. We have learned so much together today about the joy of realistic ink drawing. We talked about our happy little tools, the gentle strokes, and even drew a beautiful apple. You have taken the first wonderful steps on a new creative path. I'm so proud of you for trying something new. Remember, every artist was once a beginner. The most important thing is that you found some happiness in the process, that you enjoyed making those marks on the paper. The key to getting better at ink drawing or anything in life is practice. But let's not call it practice, let's call it play. Find a little time each day or a few times a week to just sit down with your pens and paper and play. Draw simple things you see around your home. A cup, a book, a flower from your garden. Do not worry about making it perfect. Just focus on observing the shapes, the light, and the shadows. Try out those different techniques we learned: hatching, cross-hatching, stippling. As you continue to play and create, you will see your skills grow. Your lines will become more confident. Your shadows will become richer and more believable. You will start to develop your own unique style. Thank you for joining me today. Happy drawing, and God bless, my friend. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos.